The cost of governance is one of the banes of our situation, and as a matter of fact, it will be prudent if we look at how, our appointments are made. For example, 36 ministers of the Federation, I think 20 ministers shall be enough. Our legislature should be such that can be maintained. For example, we have 109 senators. We have 300 plus members of House of Representatives. What we could do, I think, to actually thin down the government is to marry these two and come up with an innovative solution, so that at the end we will have like 200 legislators, a unicameral legislator, just like in other countries. We don't have to copy American style, exactly. We really have to make it such that it suits our own purpose and pockets, like 200 members, maybe you can call them anything. And at the same time, we should be able to be, careful appointing so many aides and so many.
But it's too late. It's too late, is it not? It's too late for that now. It looks like we're stuck.
It is, but I think the next government shall look into that.
Depend on all these officers to further their cause.
Yes, I agree with you. There are other ways of actually compensating, politicians. Train them in such a way that they can be productive to the society, not only through politics. Politics is not only for the jobless; it's for people that have specific, businesses. It will serve them better, even if it is normal trade or other professions like lawyers, doctors, and some other. So what you do is engage them either as consultants, as contractors, so that they conform to your own standards, to a basic standard of, construction, or the basic standard of project that you have, and make our people productive in such a way that they also employ labor. They're always engaged. You don't have to employ them and be paying them salaries all the time. That actually tells a lot, on the pocket of government. So I believe a trim government is good for the country, is good for our society, and we will have more efficiency if we have a trim government, because decision-making process itself will be, the time for decision-making will be reduced, and therefore we will have a faster, government. On the other hand, there are other ways of revamping the economy, including, for example, setting up skill acquisition centers all across the country. It's the responsibility of states, really. We in Borno, for example, we have skill acquisition centers in all the senatorial zones, where youth and women and people that are able-bodied and those who are, disabled, so to speak, can engage in different trades that will make them productive in the society, that will make them pay taxes to the government. For example, we have skill acquisition center where, carpentry, electrical works, works with respect to masonry and so on. People are trained and made productive in the society. One doesn't have to, always seek for employment with the government in order to make a living.
Yeah, but
that's the situation.
Mr. Maidugu, whereas I hear you, these are hardly the kind of things that I imagine candidates want to be talking about, because it won't go down well with the Nigerian, shall I say, electorate, who have been used to a different order. So we're looking at what are the factors that are likely to affect that election. The youth, for instance, not just youth, younger people, the way they are going, I'm sure you're also aware of news in the polity, especially as it relates to getting PVC cards, voting, the Electoral Act as amended. It helps a lot. So do you think that could also shape the election? Because the seniors that have been holding sway all this while are used to doing things in a certain way, and well, here we are, we see it. But now the youth, the younger people, I should be saying really, the younger people are now rising up. Do you think that they could affect the election, the conduct of the election, and the kind of pitch that must be made if indeed they actually can deliver on the promise of the large numbers? If the younger people up and down the land were to actually unite, get their PVC, then that would be a totally different audience. It doesn't remove, it doesn't supplant the existing audience, political audience, but then these youths now coming in, do you think it could affect anything?
Yeah, I think the frustration of the younger people is mostly informed by the strike, of the universities, I think largely. And this should be addressed. I think the government should address this. And it's a give and take situation. ASU will have to understand our own situation as a country. The government will have to understand the problem of continuing strike, by the academic staff, and strike a balance and come up with an agreement that will, will stand the test of time. In my own way, I'm coming to your question. In my own way, in my own suggestion, I will suggest, in order to actually address the issue of the incessant ASU strike, I would suggest that the National Assembly shall amend the Constitution and come up with a charge to the Federation account that will take care of education, so that issues of funding of public institutions across the country, including staff salaries, trainings, and infrastructure of public institutions, can be charged directly the same way the judiciary, is funded. And in that way, the government will have little control over, the funding of ASU, in the sense that ASU will understand as well that it is not at the whims and caprices of officials at the Federal Ministry of Education to determine whether, their schools are funded or not, or whether their salaries are increased in certain ways or not. So my suggestion is that we should have a constitutional amendment to charge the Federation account to fund our public university system the same way the judiciary is funded, the same way the ecological fund is set up, which was placed under the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. So because of the incessant, environmental pollution, the ecological fund was set up and is taking charge of environmental issues. So that same way, university education should be handled, so that there will be a permanent solution to this problem. I think government should look into this. Then you are talking about the younger people, being angry, people, and I think I addressed the issue of why they are angry. Yeah. Being angry, they came out to register in large numbers, and that is what they ought to have done right from before. That it's a civic responsibility to register, to vote. We have younger people across the country. It's a society. We have different ethnicity, different religion, and they have a common, denominator of being young and being concerned with the future. And this actually, translates into them having, the same interest. But I disagree that they will all be having the same, opinions. There will be divergence of opinions even among the younger people, and it will just be another election. 2023 will be another election. And
you don't think it's going to be special in that sense?
The outcome,